morning everybody, and welcome to today's thought for the day. Quick weather forecast, a little overcast, but there's a couple of bits of blue sky up there. I don't know why we've got to do that. Sorry, Facebook decided to flash something up on my screen then, so I don't know quite what happened then, but I'm back with you. As I'm saying, welcome. A little bit of blue sky up there. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when we go out or we meet up with people, a conversation that we sort of enter into sends us on a path of discovery or rediscovery? And a couple of weeks ago I was having a Zoom chat with one of my friends, and we were both trying to decide just how many hats were we all both wearing. We stopped counting after about 6 or 7 because it got a bit boring. But it was something that triggered a thought from several years back, and I can remember on one of my weeks at New Wine, on one of the seminars we went to, that type of subject came up in one of the seminars, and it came up as the question, who am I? And I sort of sat there and thought, yeah, who am I? And I knew that I'd written down all sorts throughout the house, either here or out in the caravan. I keep books with all my little notes that I'd written down. And I thought, I know I've got something written down somewhere. And so I had to scurry around yesterday and found one of my notebooks. I don't know how many years ago it was because I never date anything. And lo and behold, there I had, written on one of the pages, who am I? And I read through it, and I'm just going to read this through to you because it sort of led me on a little bit to what I want to say this morning. And it's, who am I? I wear so many hats, I have lost the real me, if I ever knew who the real me was. I am at my strongest when I worship you, Lord, when I can speak openly about Jesus and all that has been, is being, and will continue to be done for each one of us. Yet as I sit in a walled garden, I feel like it is my life that has a wall around it. It is this wall that is contracting, closing in on me, while I am trying to grow in my faith and understanding. I hear the water of life running by in your ever life-giving stream, but I can't get to it. The narrow path is so steep and rocky. And at that point I'd obviously run out of ink because I turned into pencil and I'd stopped. I did find a longer piece that I wrote a little bit after, which must have taken those thoughts on. But it's a question, isn't it? Who are we? What do we do? Where do we come from? And I decided last minute to join in with Richard's Lent group, which was started yesterday, because it was the one talk that I had missing out of my library of talks from New Wine. I couldn't remember why I didn't have it. I remembered afterwards because I was broke that year. But it was something that the speaker said right at the beginning that prompted my thought today. And it was the passage that he read that really answers that question as to who am I? It probably answers the question for all of us. I'm just going to read it to you, and I'm using the message, and I'll explain why in a minute. And this is what it says. God spoke, let us make human beings in our image, make them reflecting our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of earth. God created human beings. He created them godlike, reflecting God's nature. He created them male and female. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill earth, take charge. Be responsible for fish in the sea and birds in the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of earth. So there, that is who I am, who you are, who each and every one of us is. We are created beings in the image of our Creator. And words that popped out at me that I really liked in that passage, as opposed to the NIV and the NRSV. In the NIV, instead of responsible, the translator has used rule. And in the NRSV, the translator has used dominion instead of responsible. And I think they give a very different picture. Rule and dominion, to some extent, give that picture that, yes, we're in charge, but we're not just in charge with responsibility. We are in charge, because the NRSV goes on to say, subdue it, referring to the earth, and have dominion over the creatures. And for me, a lot of dominion has been changed into domination, and domination brings about destruction, whereas responsible brings about love. It brings about, we take charge in a loving, caring nature. We are basically creations of love. And I know sometimes it's very difficult, particularly in the situation we've been going through at the moment, that a lot of love has grown out of what has happened. There have been those silly things that people really should be ashamed of, but on a whole, we have grown in love. So let's us hold our created beings present and foremost, in responsible for loving one another. To be responsible is far better than to rule. To be responsible is far better than to claim domination or dominion. So who am I? I think I'm back on the path again a little bit. Perhaps I'm a little bit closer to those living waters, because there in Genesis 1:26 to 28, I have the blueprint for our lives, and it's going back and starting again. So with love, see you again. With love, I send my blessings, and with love, I hope and pray that the Holy Spirit will come and bless your day this day. Be safe. That light is getting brighter at the end of the tunnel. God bless you all. Hope to see you next week.